first thing I wrote of the four screenplays that I've written was a story I made up about a New York drummer. You always write what you know, especially that first time around. A New York drummer who's a jazz drummer at heart, but playing Broadway shows. And after Tony Williams dies, he finds out that Tony Williams' famous 22-inch old K ride cymbal accidentally winds up in the hands of a country and Western drummer who doesn't know what he has. And I made up the story because I was so frustrated with all the movies made about musicians that just didn't feel honest. And all I could think of was that filmmakers, as always, feel like they have to make stuff up to make it interesting to an audience, when I thought if you tell a true story or something that's authentic, there's a way to tell it so that it's interesting. And I didn't want to tell the story about a musician and the jazz world that involved a brutal junkie who would beat his girlfriend, but he was a genius, or something super cliche. It's like, no, man, there are interesting things in my world. And why not tell something that's funny and fun? And then you're thinking, well, who the hell's going to go see a movie about a guy trying to get Tony Williams' old ride cymbal? But you tell a fun story. I made it a road trip where the drummer takes a woman who he likes, who's also in the current Broadway show he's playing in, and they go to a past convention in Nashville, and it's a wacky, fun road story. But if you are able to convey the passion and the mania that a drummer might have to get his hands on that ride cymbal that Tony played with Miles, you don't have to necessarily have an audience that knows those recordings or knows about drummers or certainly knows about ride cymbals. But if you get that sense in the story, it could be fun. It should be funny without making fun of the music, not necessarily. And I wrote a script and I did readings, and a bunch of drummers in town came to the reading. I got some great actors, and I did that. And I thought, well, maybe this isn't a lark. I thought I had a pretty good ear for dialogue, and I learned a lot. I hand wrote it. And then I had people I knew in Hollywood who were up and coming writers, and a married couple, and he's a director, and they thought it was a cool story. So I took it to a certain level. It kind of ended, but it was encouraging for me, and I kept writing. But it was kind of a cool story to put out there. Still would be if you do it right.